Okay, hi everybody, this is Mrs. Blessley, and we're going to do a thing called the line study, which will help you to get ready for making your coil pot, which is your third project for Ceramics 1. So I want you to get a piece of the drawing paper, which is over on the wedging station, and you only need one sheet, and we're going to fold it to make a matrix. It's a whole bunch of boxes. So take your piece of paper, and you're going to fold it in half. Some people call this hamburger way. Fold it carefully, crease it tight so you make good lines and you can see. Fold it again, the same direction, and crease it tight. Fold it one more time, the same direction, and crease it tight. It's going to be a little bit hard to do this because this paper is thick. It's drawing paper. But we want to use good paper for this project. Okay, so it should look like this. Now I'm going to open it up, but I'm going to leave the first fold. This is the hard one, so pay really good attention to it. I don't know if you know how to fold a letter to get it into an envelope, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the bottom, we're going to fold it up, and I'm not going to crease it yet. I'm going to fold the top down, and when I get them equal, it's kind of like a fruit roll-up here. When I get them equal, then I'm going to crease it tight. And I like to use the side of my finger or my fingernail. You can use the side of your pencil if you want, but you need to have good creases so you can see the lines. So it's in 3 pieces, you see that? That's 3. Okay, now I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold it in the same direction again. Again, it's going to be thick, so it's hard. You take your pencil, just press down and fold it, your folds, so you get good creases. When you're done, you're going to open this up and you're going to look at the boxes. You should have 8 boxes across and 6 boxes down. Top left box, I want you to take your pencil, and you must do this in pencil. Put your name, put what period number you're in, put the date, so it's 3/9/2015, and put line study. That's what this is. Now we're going to talk about different kinds of lines, and we're going to talk about different qualities of lines and directions they travel. So the first thing people say is that, well, I'm not an artist, I can't draw a straight line. So in this second box, write straight. In the third box, I want you to write curved. These are all different kinds of lines that people can draw. The next box, wavy. There's a difference between a curved line and a wavy line. We'll go into that in a minute. This next box, a spiral. And then what people call a zigzag, but in art we call it a jagged line. And we'll put zigzag in parentheses. The next line is called broken. Some people think of this as a dotted line, but not all broken lines are made out of dots. And the last one is called a calligraphic line. This comes from the art of calligraphy, which is drawing with the flat nib pen that makes thin and thick lines. So they're thin to thick in one line. So make sure you've got all of these different kinds of lines across. There should be 7 different kinds of lines. And then we're going to talk about ways that lines travel. A line can travel horizontally. It's named for the horizon line where the sun and the earth meet, so a horizontal line. You can also draw a vertical line. Which goes up and down. And a line can travel on the diagonal. And the diagonal could go that way, and it also can go this way. The last thing that this line study investigates is the weight of a line. So we can have lines that are thin, and we can have lines that are thick. And I like to make the word thick, thick. Now the way this line study works is that I have to figure out what's going to go in each one of the boxes and what kind of lines I need to draw there. So say I want to know what's in this box. I'm going to look here. It should be horizontal, so it's going to go from side to side. And a wavy line. A wavy line is just kind of like the ones in the oceans. And they have different frequencies and they have different amplitude. Frequency means how many waves. So this is a higher frequency because there's many more waves. Amplitude means how high or low those waves go. So this is a high amplitude. This is stuff you might learn in math or physics class or your other kind of science class, electronics and things like that. So you need to fill this box with wavy lines. Now it doesn't say anything about the weight of the line, does it? So that means that I can make some of them thick and I can make some of them thin. And to make a thick line, you just draw two lines and color in between. And I want to fill this whole box with wavy lines. And they have to all travel horizontally, right? So my box is filled. Then I've got straight and vertical. So in this box, I have to have straight, vertical lines. Do not fill it only with skinny lines like this. You want to color some in, have some different weights. But your entire box needs to be straight, vertical lines. And some of them might be thin, skinny little lines in between. I want my box filled with straight, vertical lines. Let's take a look at this one. Curved lines on a diagonal. So I'm going to start in one corner, it's going to curve around. Think about the curve in a road. It could be on another diagonal and my curves could come up this way. But I've got to fill my box with curves. And again, it doesn't say anything about weight, so you should mix them up. Some thick, some thin. You want to do this in pencil, otherwise you're going to be forever doing it, and I don't want to see it in ink. I want to see it in pencil. Now I expect you to be a little bit more careful than what I'm doing here for this quick demonstration, and I'll show you some samples of some that are done really nicely. Okay, so curved lines on a diagonal. Spiral lines, vertical spiral lines. Spiral lines are just like a little tornado. And you can change the weight of these lines just by coloring them in. Jagged lines or zigzag lines. Here I've got a horizontal. Jagged lines also have amplitude, but they have little corners on them, so there's no rounded edges. Make sure that you make some thick and some thin. jagged lines. A broken line could be a line that's dots, but they shouldn't really touch. These kind of touch a little bit too much. It could be dashes. It could be dots and dashes. See, I'm on the vertical row, so it has to be, it could be boxes. Any kind of broken line, there's space in between it, but it still reads as a line when you look at it. And I've got to get all the way over to the edge. Okay, a calligraphic line is a line that goes from thick to thin. I got to do them on the diagonal. So I'm going to go like this, and I have to do this with two lines and then fill it in. So it's going to get thick somewhere and thin elsewhere. So here's one, thick to thin. I need a different pencil. This pencil's wearing out. See if this one works. Okay, another one, thick to thin. It has to be on a diagonal. I'm going to make a great big one here. Fill it in. And you want these calligraphic lines to fill your box. So again, this doesn't say anything about weight. So if I got all of the different kinds, I do. All right, so you're going to fill in every box on the matrix. This line doesn't say anything about what kind of line except straight, but it doesn't say anything about direction. So I can have straight lines that are thin, that go diagonally, or I can mix it up, make some of them go vertically. I can make some of them go horizontally, just as long as I fill up my box. Thin lines. This whole row is going to be thin lines. And then this one, this whole row is going to be thick lines, and only thick lines. So I've got curved lines here. I want a big curved line. Doesn't say anything about direction. They could go in any direction, but I draw two lines and color in between to get my thick curved lines. My thick curved line could curve in this direction. And I think you kind of get the idea, right, of how to do this. I'm going to fill up this box. Now, when you've done a good job with this matrix, you're going to get something that looks like a quilt. And they'll look something like this. Or something like this. Now, some of the categories are a little different on these than what I just did, but you can get an idea of how cool these can look when you do a really good job on them. Now there's a second step. Once you've got this side done, you have to turn it over, and you have to draw 3 pots using the information that you've come up with here and the designs that you've come up with here, and you're going to draw 3 pots that you'll be making out of coils. So let's look at this. So it says, write these instructions on your paper. Draw 3 pots. Each of the pots, you have 2 coils on the bottom and 1 coil or more on the lip. So on the bottom it's got a coil here and 1 or more on the top. And you have to have in your design, you have to have coils, which would just be any of the lines. It could be straight lines, the wavy lines, the jagged lines, spirals, which are like little cinnamon rolls, and broken lines. So you have to have those 3 things in your design. Now your design can be the entire pot like this, and this would be a bare minimum pot. I've got coils, I've got broken lines, I've got spirals, broken lines. This is a bare minimum. Not much variety here. I can have a pot where I make it all with coils, but I smooth some of them out. And I have a nice jagged line, I have a broken line underneath it, I have coil underneath it, there's spirals in between. Or this one, it's got a wavy line, broken line, coil, spirals, another wavy line with dots, and then a wavy line here, and all of this is smooth. So you have to come up with 3 pots. Take a look at the charts that are on the board. Those will help you. But this you have to complete, and you come up with one that you want to make. That one design, I want you to circle it, put it on your plan sheet in your handbook, which I think will be on page 22, so that you could be ready to start making your pot later on this week. But this planning needs to be done before you start your coil pot.